Hi everybody and welcome back to Room 9, our region's largest classroom. My name is Miss St. Louis and I'm a teacher at Rogers Elementary in the Mehlville School District, and we are located in South St. Louis County. Today, I'm here to teach a reading lesson that's geared towards students who are in the 3rd grade, but all learners are more than welcome to join and explore along with us. So let's get started. This week, we are going to be talking all about author's purpose. Now, you're probably wondering to yourself, what is author's purpose? Well, let's talk about it. So, author's purpose is the reason why an author chose to write a book, right? When authors sit down to write something, right, whether that be a book or an article or a script for a play or a movie, right, there's a reason behind why they are writing, okay? They're sitting down to do some work for a purpose. So when we read things or look at things that have been published, one thing that we can do is decide, why did the author choose to do this? And so there's a couple of reasons why authors choose to write, and that's what we're going to be talking about this week. So one of the reasons that an author may choose to write is to persuade. Now, persuade is when the author is trying to get you to do or try something, okay? Let's stick that up there so we can remember. Okay, so the author wants us to either do an action, right? Or they want us to try something, okay? So examples that we might see in our world about of things that try to persuade us are some newspaper articles, right? Magazine articles, advertisements and commercials, right? The whole point of advertisements and commercials is to get us to do what? Yeah, to buy a product, right? So if you see car commercials out there, they want you to buy their car, right? If you see an ad on the highway as you're driving down the highway for a store, they want you to come in and go to their store, right? So it's all about persuasion, trying to get you to do something, okay? Also debates, right? And so we know that a couple months ago we had an election. So leading up to that election, there were a lot of debates between political candidates, right? And they were trying to persuade people to vote for them, right? By showing their opinions about different situations, right? Different laws, different rules. They were trying to get you to persuade you to go to their side. Okay, so elections are a really good example of persuasion. Okay, and so persuasion has a couple purposes, right? It can do one of two things. It can either confirm what you already think and believe, right? You might look at a mashed potato ad and go, yeah, I know those are the best potatoes. I've had them so many times. They're amazing, right? And it can just confirm what you already know, right? If there's an ad for a car, right, you might see it and go, oh, yeah, that's the best car. It's the one I drive every day. But it could also change your mind about what you believe, right? So if you were watching a political debate, right, someone might say something about a hot button issue, right? And you might look and you might think, and you might go, I'm starting to like what you say. And then you might go off and you might read some magazine articles or some newspaper articles about the same topic, right? And you might, as you start to gather more information, you might think, you know what? I might be starting to change my opinion, right? Because the whole point of persuading someone is to try and get them to come to your side. Now, there might be a ton of people already on your side, but we know that in something like an election, you want to have the majority of people on your side. And so you need to persuade them to come to your side. So when we read books that are persuading books, there are some vocabulary words that they might use that really stand out to us, right? And so those are big words that try to get us to do things, right? So for example, a word could be save, right? Well, everybody wants to save, right? Whether that's saving money, saving lives, saving time, right? Save is a really big word. It has a lot of meaning to people. So if I'm seeing something and I come across an ad and it goes, save time. Well, I want to save time because the more I save time on doing things like chores, right? The more time I have to play and do things that I enjoy. So if this brand new vacuum is going to save me some time, I think I might want to try it out, right? Prevention is another really big word, right? We always want to stop things from happening, whether that's to stop us from getting sick or to stop people from doing things, right? Prevention is another really big word, okay? So for example, here's a book called Preventing Ocean Pollution, right? And I see already in the top, oh, yeah, I want to prevent ocean pollution. So it's going to try and convince me, right, that this is something that I need to do or help out with, okay? So pay attention to the language and the words that are used in books and commercials and in magazines, because if they're trying to persuade you to do something, they're going to use words that help get you to their side, right? They want to pull you in. They want to make you feel something, right? They want to make you feel a certain type of way, whether that's they want to make you feel really, really good about your choice, or they want to try and convince you that you should move to their side and change your opinion, right? So pay attention to the language. Language is key. So I have a book that I would like to share with you today that is an example of persuasion. Are you ready to read with me? Let's go. All right, so the book that we're going to be reading today is Turn Off the Tap, written by Deborah Chancellor and illustrated by Diane Ewan. All right, so as we read, let's see if we can find some evidence to prove why this book is a book that is trying to persuade, right? So persuasion, remember, is when the author tries to get you to do something or to try something. So as we were looking for evidence, right? Words, phrases, sentences that really show that the author wants us to do something. All right. Tia woke up and yawned. It was a hot, sunny morning. She went to the bathroom to brush her teeth. Turn off the tap, said Mom. Tia sighed. You always say that, she said. Well, we need to save water, said Mom. It hasn't rained for ages. Our water comes from lakes, rivers, and reservoirs, which are filled up by rain. Tia went to get dressed. She looked everywhere for her favorite t-shirt and found it in the laundry basket. Please, can you wash this? She asked Mom. Not today, said Mom. I only do the washing once a week to save water and energy. So Tia chose to wear another top. Is there anything I can do to save water? Tia asked. Well, you can help me fix this dripping tap, said Mom. Tia fetched the toolbox and handed Mom a wrench. Around the world, people use billions of fresh water every day. A large amount of this water is wasted by leaking pipes and dripping taps. Can I go and play now? Tia said. Just one more job, said Mom. You can help me wash the car. Tia filled the bucket with soapy water. We will use less water if we use a bucket instead of a hose, said Mom. The bucket was heavy to carry. Later that afternoon, Tia was thirsty. She went to the kitchen to get a glass of water. I'll let the water run so it's nice and cold, she said. Turn off the tap, said Mom. There's a jug of water in the fridge. So Tia poured her drink from the jug instead. We all need water to survive. In some countries, people have no taps at home, and they walk miles every day to fetch drinking water. So let's stop there for a second. What do we notice? What's going on in the book so far? Yeah, we have Tia and her mom. And what are Tia and her mom doing? Yeah, they're kind of just living a regular old life around the house, right? Maybe it's a weekend, they're hanging out. And so there seems to be a problem. Do you know what the problem is so far? Yeah, she's not wasting water on purpose, right? But she's not being the most responsible with her water, right? Not the most eco-friendly, right? We say eco-friendly when we talk about things that are good for the environment. And so what is her mom doing to help her with this problem? Yeah, her mom is explaining to her all the different ways in which the choices she's making are not the best for the environment and showing her some possible solutions or ways to fix those issues so that way she can help to save the planet, right? So we know that when she got her drink of water, she wanted to let the water run until it got really cold. Her mom had already gotten some water, put it in a jug and put it in the fridge, so that way they wouldn't have to waste water, right? Because if your water's kind of warm, but you put it in the fridge, what's going to happen to it? It's going to get cold, right? And are we going to waste water when we do that? No, right? If we keep going back, right? When they washed the car, they used a bucket instead of a hose, so the hose wasn't going to continually run and run, right? That bucket of water is one bucket of water, and they're going to stick to it, okay? So far, we know that this is persuading, right? Where the author is trying to get us to do or try something. What do you think the author's trying to get us to do or try? Turn off the tap. Save water. Be more responsible with our water usage. Absolutely, right? And we see those with some of the words that were chosen so far, right? We have words like save, right? We have words, let's keep looking. Yep, save water, save energy, right? So we're even bringing energy into this. Use less, right? Survive. So those are some words that the author is using to try and help us to get to remember what we need to do, what they want us to do, what they're persuading us to do. Let's keep going. Let's see. Later that evening, Tia went outside to play. The flowers in the garden were drooping. Plants need water, just like me, she said. Tia got a watering can and turned on the garden tap to fill it up. So far, so good, right? Let's see what happens next. Turn off the tap, said Mom. You can water the flowers with rainwater. Mom showed Tia the rain barrel. We collect rainwater in here, she said, and Tia filled up the watering can. When rain doesn't fall, crops can't go. Crops can't grow. In some countries, this means that people don't have enough food to eat. Right? So we see here that they are saving all that rainwater, right? It's going to come down this pipe, and instead of lots of it going into this drain here, it's going to go into this reservoir, right? And while rainwater isn't something that we would necessarily drink, right? We can use it to water our plants because we know that water that rains right down on our plants is perfectly good for them. So why not collect it that it's that it's raining in somewhere else where there are no plants, collect it all up and reuse it with the plants. It's a really good way to save water, isn't it? Watering the garden was hard work. I'm tired, said Tia when the job was done. Time for a quick shower, then bed, said Mom. Tia only needed a couple of minutes in the shower. That was long enough to get clean. Tia went to the bathroom and flushed the toilet. Water gushed down the pipes. What a waste, said Tia. Don't worry, Tia, said Mom. That water will be recycled, so it can be used again. Water is cleaned and recycled in treatment plants. We must still try to save as much water as we can because recycling water uses up energy, right? So think about all the water that we use, right? It goes down the pipes and then from there it's cleaned, right? So the water that we use to wash our dirty dishes, right? Or the water we use from a shower or a bath. All of that water gets cleaned in a water treatment center so that way it can be sent right back to us where it's nice and clean and healthy for us to use. But like she said, it's still really important that we think about the amount of water that we're using, right? Because energy is something we also don't want to waste, right? So that kind of brings us to a whole different side of something else we might turn off. Later that night, there was a big storm. Tia listened to the falling rain. She sat up in bed and smiled. That's just what we need, she said. Why do you think that they needed that? Oh, maybe to water those plants that she wanted to water. Absolutely. To help fill those rain buckets. Absolutely. Maybe it'll help rinse the car off, right, from when they washed it earlier. It's a good thinking. Tia looked out her bedroom window. She was happy to see so many puddles. Water is precious, she said. From now on, I won't waste a single drop. 3/4 of our planet is covered with water. Nearly all of it is undrinkable salt water from oceans. Only 2.5% of the water on Earth is drinkable. We have to make sure there will always be enough for everyone, everywhere. Isn't that kind of crazy to think about? That there's so much water on this planet, and yet we can't drink most of that water, right? So it's kind of hard for us sometimes because we see and we look around and we look at pictures of Earth and we say, oh, look at how much water there is. Why do I need to save it when there's so much? But really, so much of that water is salt water, right? That comes from our oceans. And that's not water that we can drink, leaving us with such a small amount of water that is drinkable for us. And if you think about it, 2.5% for the entire planet isn't that much water, right? So we have to make sure that there will always be enough. All right. Ooh, we've got a little quiz. What do you think? Do you think we can take it? Let's see what we've learned so far. All right, so which of these things are true? 1, we get fresh drinking water straight from the ocean. Is that true or false? That's right, that's false, right? Fresh drinking water comes from lakes, rivers, and reservoirs, which can get filled up by rain. All right, what about 2? Leaking pipes and dripping taps waste a huge amount of water. Right, that's true, right? We need to fix those to help save the water, right? If something's dripping, are we using that water? No, so it's just getting wasted. And if it drips for a couple minutes, that's wasted water. But if it's dripping for days and days, or maybe even weeks, right? That's a lot of wasted water. So we have to make sure that when we have things like leaky pipes or broken pipes, that we tell someone so that it can get fixed. 3, everyone can turn on the tap to get a glass of water. Can everyone in the world turn on a tap to get some water? No, that's right. So there are some countries in the world and some places in the world where people do not have access to running water like we do, right? Here we have running water that comes into our homes, into our taps, right? We have running water that comes to our schools, to our drinking fountains, but not every country has those. And so people have to walk or drive or travel long distances in order to get some fresh water to bring back with them. Oh, that's right. Yes, they could collect it, right? Just like we saw that people collected rainwater, they could also try and collect the water themselves. 4, plants need rain to grow. If it doesn't rain, crops fail to grow. Is that true or false? That's right, that's true, right? So we know that if rain doesn't fall, crops can't grow, right? And then people will not have crops to eat, and that will affect, right, what people are eating and our sources of food and energy. So we need water for our crops. And number 5, half of planet Earth is covered with water. So remember, half is 50%. What do you think? Is that true or false? That's right, that's false. Over 3/4 or 75% of our planet is covered with water. However, most of this water is salt water, which we cannot drink. Okay, so we can see that this book, right, is teaching us all about how we can save water, right? By turning off the tap, we can save water. So they are saying turn off the tap, right? As ways to get us to see we don't need to use that water. We can get our sources of water from somewhere else, or we can use tap water, right, a little bit more conservatively, thinking about how much we use, how long do we let it run. So the author did something kind of cool in this book. She went ahead and she told us some ways in the back that we can help to save water. So I'm going to read that to you now. Get active. In the story, Tia and her mom try to save as much water as they can. Think about other ways of saving water, such as using bath water to feed plants in the garden, and only running the dishwasher when it's full. Make a poster to show all the ways we can save water. We can measure how much rain falls. Make a rain gauge by cutting a large plastic bottle in half and turning the top half upside down to make a funnel. At the end of the week, pour the rainwater you have collected into a measuring jug and write down how much rainwater you have. Do the same thing every week for a month. Draw a bar chart to show how much rain has fallen each week that month. Plants need water to grow. You can see this for yourself. Take 2 saucers and put a cotton ball in each. Sprinkle seed sprouts on each ball. Place the saucers on a windowsill, then dampen 1 cotton ball. Wait a few days. Which seeds are beginning to sprout? Why is this? Make a short film about saving water. You could use the video camera on a smartphone to do this. Think carefully about what you want to say before you begin. For example, why is water precious and why do we need to save it? Make a simple storyboard before you start filming. So, right, she's giving us some ideas now about how we can continue to learn about saving water and also how we can share those ideas with others, right? So we know that when we are persuaded in a book, the author is trying to get you to do or try something, right? So in this book, we know that the author is trying to get us to save water, but she also, right, is now trying to get us to share this information with other people, right? To learn a little bit more by maybe conducting some experiments, but also to share our learning with our family members, with the people around us, maybe even with people at school by creating posters or creating videos, right? So we can definitely take what we've learned from this book and what our author has tried to teach us or persuade us to do, right? She wants us to turn off the tap. And now we need to take that information and share it with the people around us. So not only are we turning off the tap, but so is everybody else around us as well. All right, boys and girls, so that was our book today, Turn Off the Tap. And we read that because today we were talking about author's purpose. More specifically about persuasion, right? So authors can write books to persuade us to want to do or to try something. In this case, our author wanted us to turn off the tap water and to start saving and conserving our water. So as you get out there and you read some books or read some articles or watch TV, right? Think about all the ways that people are trying to persuade you to do something or try something in the world around you. All right, boys and girls, I hope that you'll join us again next time as we dive into another reason why authors write books. Bye, everybody.
Teaching in Room 9 is made possible with support of Bank of America, Dana Brown Charitable Trust, Emerson, and viewers like you.